The corridors of General Hospital have always been a backdrop for dramatic twists, but the unfolding story between Britt Westburn and Jason Morgan promises to deliver some of the most emotionally charged moments in recent memory. After years of separation, misunderstandings, and presumed deaths, these two star-crossed lovers are about to embark on a journey that will test their bond in ways they never imagined. The misunderstanding that nearly broke them, the tension between Britt and Jason, has been palpable since her unexpected return from the dead. Their reunion at the Five Poppies resort in Croatia was fraught with unspoken emotions and lingering hurt. Britt, still wounded by Jason's past choice to prioritize Carly Spencer over their relationship, has kept her distance despite the obvious chemistry that still sparks between them. Jason's decision to become an FBI informant to protect Carly had devastated Britt when she learned the truth. The pattern was all too familiar. Once again, Jason had chosen Carly over her, just as he had done before when he abruptly ended their relationship to rush to Carly's aid. This revelation had left Britt feeling like she would always come second in Jason's life, a painful realization that made her push him away even as her heart yearned for him. But beneath the hurt and resentment, the love between them burns as fiercely as ever. Jason's relentless search for Britt, his gut instinct that she was alive when everyone else had given up hope, speaks to a connection that transcends logic. When he heard her voice during that fateful phone call to the hotel concierge Pascal, his determination to find her intensified, driven by a love he couldn't deny. The path to reconciliation. As the days unfold in Port Charles, the walls that Britt has built around her heart begin to crumble. Jason's unwavering devotion, his refusal to give up on them despite her protests, starts to chip away at her defenses. In quiet moments between the chaos of their lives, they begin to address the elephant in the room, the misunderstandings that have kept them apart. Jason finally opens up about the impossible position he was in with Carly, explaining that his loyalty to his best friend doesn't diminish his feelings for Britt. He reveals the pain he felt when he thought he had lost her forever, how her supposed death had left a void in his life that nothing could fill. These honest conversations, filled with vulnerability and raw emotion, begin to heal the wounds between them. Britt, in turn, shares her own struggles, the fear of always coming second, the hurt of feeling abandoned when she needed him most. But as they talk, she begins to see the man behind the enforcer, the Jason who chose to protect those he loves even at great personal cost. She realizes that his capacity for loyalty, while sometimes misguided, is also what makes him the man she fell in love with. The breakthrough comes during a particularly vulnerable moment when Jason admits that losing her made him realize what truly matters. He promises that this time will be different, that he's learned to balance his loyalties without sacrificing their love. Britt, moved by his sincerity and her own undeniable feelings, finally allows herself to believe in their second chance. Love blooms again. With their misunderstandings finally addressed, Britt and Jason embark on a tender rekindling of their romance. The chemistry that drew them together originally reignites with an intensity that surprises them both. They rediscover the simple joy of being together, sharing quiet dinners, taking long walks, and finding solace in each other's arms. Their renewed relationship has a depth that their first attempt lacked. Having faced loss and separation, they don't take their time together for granted. Every touch, every kiss, every shared laugh feels precious and hard-won. Jason is more attentive than before, making sure Britt knows she's his priority, while Britt allows herself to be vulnerable in ways she never could before. The residents of Port Charles begin to notice the change in both of them. Jason, typically stoic and focused on business, has a lightness in his step and a smile that reaches his eyes. Britt radiates happiness in a way that makes even her medical colleagues comment on her improved mood. They're planning for a future together, discussing dreams and possibilities that seemed impossible just weeks before. Their happiness is infectious, and even those who had doubts about their pairing begin to see how perfect they are together. Jason's protective instincts and Britt's fierce independence complement each other beautifully. They've learned to communicate better, to trust more deeply, and to love without reservation. The storm clouds gather, but in the world of General Hospital, happiness is often fleeting, and darker forces are already at work. Unknown to the blissful couple, Sam McCall is very much alive, having been presumed dead after complications from what appeared to be a routine medical procedure. Her survival is part of a larger conspiracy that threatens to unravel not just Jason and Britt's reunion, but the very fabric of Port Charles itself. Sam's return is carefully orchestrated by someone with intimate knowledge of Port Charles residents and their relationships. She's been recovering in secret, gathering information and preparing for the perfect moment to resurface. Her love for Jason, which never truly died despite their complicated history, has been fueled by months of watching from the shadows as he moved on with Britt. The timing of her return is no coincidence. Just as Jason and Britt have found their way back to each other, just as they're beginning to believe in their happily ever after, Sam prepares to shatter their world with revelations that will test every bond they've rebuilt. The devastating revelation. Sam's return to Port Charles is as dramatic as it is devastating. She doesn't simply knock on Jason's door. Instead, she chooses a moment when he's with Britt, ensuring maximum emotional impact. The shock on both their faces is profound. Jason's world tilts on its axis as he comes face to face with the woman he thought he'd lost forever, while Britt feels the familiar sting of being the other woman once again. But Sam's return comes with bombshell revelations that extend far beyond their personal triangle. With tears in her eyes and urgency in her voice, she delivers the news that will change everything. Jason, Britt is working for Faison, and he's still alive. The words hang in the air like a death sentence. Caesar Faison, the notorious villain who has terrorized Port Charles for years, whose supposed death in 2018 brought relief to many, is not only alive, but has been pulling strings from the shadows. According to Sam, Britt's miraculous survival and her time in Croatia weren't just about escaping a medical diagnosis. They were part of Faison's elaborate plan. Sam reveals that her survival was also connected to this conspiracy. She had uncovered information about Faison's continued existence during her own medical crisis, leading to attempts on her life that necessitated faking her death. She spent months gathering evidence, following leads, and preparing for this moment when she could expose the truth. The revelation hits Jason like a physical blow. The woman he loves, the woman he's just reconciled with, may have been deceiving him all along. Every tender moment, every promise, every dream they've shared is now tainted with suspicion. Has their entire reunion been orchestrated by his greatest enemy? The fallout. Britt's reaction to Sam's accusation is one of shock and horror, but also something else, a flicker of fear that suggests Sam might not be entirely wrong. The truth, as it often is in Port Charles, is more complex than it initially appears. While Britt may indeed have connections to Faison's organization, her feelings for Jason are genuine, creating a tragic conflict between love and survival. The revelation fractures the fragile happiness that Jason and Britt had built. Trust, so carefully reconstructed, crumbles in an instant. Jason finds himself torn between the woman he thought was dead and the woman he fears may have betrayed him. The pain in his eyes as he looks between Sam and Britt is heartbreaking. Once again, he's caught between two women he cares about, but this time the stakes are infinitely higher. Britt, faced with accusations and Jason's dawning suspicion, must choose between revealing secrets that could endanger them all and watching the love of her life slip away. Her connection to Faison may be more complicated than simple villainy. Perhaps she's been coerced, blackmailed, or trying to protect someone she loves. But in this moment, with Sam's words echoing in the room and Jason's trust hanging by a thread, explanations seem inadequate. The cliffhanger ending. As the truth begins to unravel, the implications become clear. If Faison is alive, no one in Port Charles is safe. His return threatens not just Jason and Britt's relationship, but the lives of everyone they care about. Nathan West's mysterious return with amnesia, Britt's odd behavior around him, and the various medical experiments that have been conducted all begin to form a terrifying picture of Jason's continued machinations. The story leaves our characters at a crossroads that will define their futures. Jason must decide whether to trust his heart or his head, whether the woman he loves could truly be his enemy's pawn. Britt faces the impossible choice between love and survival, between protecting Jason and protecting herself, and Sam, having delivered her devastating news, must now help the man she still loves navigate the dangerous waters ahead, even if it means watching him choose another woman. Next, we will learn about the explosive developments in Portia Robinson's world as her marriage crumbles and an unexpected pregnancy throws everything into chaos. Portia Robinson's life in Port Charles has always been a whirlwind of secrets and surprises, but the latest twists promise to upend her existence like never before. Just a year into her marriage to Curtis Ashford, the man who started as a casual fling and evolved into her devoted partner, Portia finds her wedding vows dissolving faster than a summer storm. Whispers around the hospital corridors suggest that Curtis and Portia are on a collision course toward divorce court, with irreconcilable differences piling up like unfiled medical charts. Adding fuel to this fiery fallout is Portia's sudden realization that she's pregnant, a revelation hitting her harder than a code blue alert. As she stares at those two unmistakable pink lines on the test strip, visions of midnight feedings, endless diaper changes, and the cries of a newborn echo in her mind, none of which align with her current high-stakes career at General Hospital or her tangled personal entanglements. This child could mirror her fierce daughter Trina Robinson in spirit and strength, perhaps a baby girl destined to challenge the status quo, or a son who might inherit the resilience of Port Charles' toughest survivors. But the burning question lingers: whose legacy will this little one truly carry? Will it be Curtis's steadfast Ashford name, or something altogether more scandalous from a fleeting indiscretion? In the midst of this personal earthquake, Portia's journey takes a darker, more introspective turn, potentially delving into one of the most debated issues gripping the nation, the choice surrounding abortion. Imagine Portia, the poised chief of staff, grappling with the weight of this decision in private moments away from prying eyes at the hospital. The storyline could unfold with her confiding in a trusted colleague like Dr. Hamilton Finn, whose own history of ethical dilemmas might offer a sympathetic ear, or even turning to her mother, Stella Henry, for raw, unfiltered family wisdom. As Portia weighs the implications balancing her professional ambitions, her rocky family dynamics, and the stigma that could follow, viewers might witness raw scenes of her pacing the dimly lit halls of her home, torn between fear and resolve. This plot thread wouldn't just be a subplot. It could serve as a mirror to broader societal conversations, highlighting the emotional toll on women in high-pressure roles. Portia might face a truth bomb moment where she confronts the father of the child head-on, risking exposure of her secrets, or opt for termination, a path to reclaim control over her narrative. The tension builds as leaked spoilers hint at therapy sessions where Portia unpacks her regrets, adding layers of psychological depth to her character arc. Finally, embracing the end of her marriage on her own terms has brought Portia a surprising sense of liberation, like shedding a too-tight lab coat after a grueling shift. She initiated the separation with Curtis not out of bitterness, but from a place of weary honesty, admitting that their union had lost its spark amid the daily grind of Port Charles life. Post-split, Portia has shown subtle signs of warming to the charismatic Isaiah Gannon, the newcomer whose mysterious past and easy charm have caught her off guard during late-night consultations at the ER. Their chemistry simmers beneath professional boundaries, stolen glances over patient files, brief touches during urgent procedures, but Portia remains cautious, knowing that any deeper connection must stay hidden from the town's gossip mill. Yet, with a baby now complicating the picture, her budding flirtation with Isaiah feels like a double-edged scalpel, exhilarating yet perilous. Could this pregnancy be the unintended souvenir from a passionate one-night encounter with Isaiah, perhaps during a rain-soaked evening after a stressful hospital fundraiser? Or is it a bittersweet farewell from Curtis, conceived in one of their last attempts to salvage their bond? As Portia navigates these options, She might seek solace in unexpected alliances, like confiding in her colleague Epiphany Johnson for no-nonsense advice, only to spiral into doubt. The weeks ahead will show her desperately hunting for an escape hatch from this nightmare, questioning if motherhood fits into her redefined future, or if it's time to let go entirely. Portia's penchant for deception has been the undercurrent of her character since she first stepped into Port Charles, arriving with the teenage Trina, whose very origins were shrouded in fabrication. From the start, Portia concealed the truth about Trina's biological father, bouncing between lies to Marcus Taggart and Curtis, which sowed seeds of distrust that have bloomed into full-blown relational thorns. This foundational deceit set the stage for a pattern of manipulation. She gaslighted Trina during pivotal moments of her young adult life, like when Trina faced accusations in the Cyrus Renault saga, twisting facts to protect her own image. Portia's wedding to Curtis became a battlefield of omissions, ruined not just by external drama, but by her refusal to fully disclose past indiscretions, leading to public humiliations that echoed through Spoon Island gatherings. Her vendetta against Jordan Ashford escalated into outright defamation, with Portia spreading rumors during Jordan's commissioner tenure that nearly derailed her career, all while feigning sisterly concern. Diving deeper into blackmail territory, Portia entangled herself with Drew Kane in a scheme involving corporate secrets at ELQ, using forged documents to leverage advantages in hospital politics. And let's not forget the endless web of falsehoods about her medical decisions, from overriding protocols in emergency surgeries to hiding experimental treatments that could have saved lives. Accountability has never been Portia's strong suit. Instead, she thrives on control, often at the expense of those closest to her. In this pregnancy crisis, one can't help but wonder if revealing the affair's details would shatter her world irreparably, pushing her toward the easier path of avoidance, choosing not to bring the baby into her chaotic orbit rather than facing the fallout of her torrid secrets. Invented extensions to her backstory could include a long-buried affair from her med school days that mirrors this current dilemma, adding generational echoes to her struggles. General Hospital has long mastered the art of weaving controversial narratives into its fabric, captivating audiences with stories that resonate beyond the screen while keeping the drama taut and unpredictable. The show has a storied history of addressing taboo subjects head-on, from HIV and AIDS awareness in the 90s with characters like Stone Cates to mental health battles depicted through Sonny Corinthus's bipolar disorder arcs. Yet, in recent years, GH has treaded more lightly around real-time hot-button issues, touching on COVID-19 with brief mask mandates and quarantine scenes before pivoting to lighter fare amid the pandemic's real-world fatigue. Political undercurrents, like election year tensions, have been alluded to subtly through town hall meetings in Port Charles, but rarely dissected. Now, with global conversations evolving, the writers seem poised to reignite bold storytelling, using Portia's arc to spark dialogues on reproductive rights without preaching. Fans recall the last major abortion storyline involving Lulu Spencer and Dylan Quartermain, where Lulu's choice after a one-night stand led to profound emotional repercussions, including strained friendships and self-reflection that rippled through the Spencer family for seasons. That saga, aired in the early 2000s, balanced empathy with controversy, earning praise for its nuance. A reprisal here could introduce fresh angles, perhaps involving support groups at the hospital or debates with activist characters like Felicia Scorpio, who draws from her own history of tough choices. As Portia deliberates, the plot might intersect with broader town events, like a women's health seminar gone awry, amplifying the stakes. Will viewers side with Portia's potential decision, viewing it as empowerment, or see it as another evasion? The buzz is already building in fan forums, with polls debating outcomes and predicting ripple effects on Trina's storyline or Curtis's recovery arc. This could be GH's way of reclaiming its edge, ensuring Port Charles remains a hotbed of heartfelt, headline-making drama. As Portia's saga unfolds, it promises to test the limits of loyalty, truth, and transformation in Port Charles, leaving fans eagerly awaiting each episode's revelations. Next, We will learn about the escalating drama surrounding Carly Spencer's frantic efforts to shield her son, Michael Corinthos, from a devastating arrest in the shocking shooting of Drew Kane Quartermain. In the shadowy undercurrents of Port Charles, the investigation into Drew Kane Quartermain's near-fatal shooting has ignited a firestorm of suspicion and urgency, leaving Carly Spencer on the edge of panic as she fears the worst for her fiercely protective son, Michael Corinthos. The once stable Quartermain mansion, a bastion of family secrets and power plays, now serves as the epicenter of this probe, with Anna Devane and her team of determined officers scouring every nook for the elusive murder weapon that could unravel lives forever. Though their initial sweep of the Q estate yielded nothing but echoes of tense confrontations, whispers from insiders suggest that this week will bring a breakthrough, unearthing the gun in a location tied directly to Michael's shadowy movements, a forgotten alleyway near the docks where he's rarely ventured. Or perhaps a concealed spot in an abandoned warehouse he frequents for discreet meetings. This discovery won't just raise eyebrows. It will cast a glaring spotlight on Michael, transforming him from a grieving family man into the prime suspect in a crime that could shatter the Corinthos legacy. Carly's maternal instincts are in overdrive, propelling her into a web of desperate maneuvers to exonerate Michael, even if it means plunging herself into the heart of the danger. Drawing from a recent candid interview with Soap Digest, Laura Wright, the powerhouse actress behind Carly, revealed the depth of her character's turmoil, emphasizing how Carly, in merely defending her son out of blind loyalty, but grappling with the gnawing suspicion that Michael might indeed be the shooter. Wright painted a vivid picture of Carly's internal conflict, noting that every hushed conversation and evasive glance from Michael only amplifies her dread, especially given his flimsy alibi involving a mysterious call girl who could vanish like smoke under scrutiny. Adding layers to this tension, Tracy Quartermain, ever the cunning matriarch with a grudge against Drew's opportunistic ways, has her own suspicions about Michael's involvement and is more than willing to weave a tapestry of deception to protect him, viewing Drew as an interloper who disrupted the family's delicate balance. Imagine Tracy's sly interventions, perhaps slipping false leads to the police or tampering with security footage to ensure her great-grandson stays free, all while savoring the irony of undermining Drew, whom she blames for poisoning the Quartermain heir with his ruthless ambition. Delving deeper into Carly's fears, the motive Michael harbors runs deeper than surface betrayals, rooted in the raw betrayal of Drew's affair with Willow Tate, Michael's devoted wife, which has left emotional scars that fester like open wounds. Carly, having pieced together fragments of that fateful night, senses Michael's secrecy, his late-night disappearances, the unexplained scratches on his hands, and the way he avoids eye contact when questioned, pointing toward a possible act of vengeance born from heartbreak. If Carly were to uncover the full extent of Tracy's sighting of Michael lurking near Drew's lakeside home, under the cover of darkness, her anxiety would skyrocket, envisioning paparazzi flashes and courtroom theatrics that could drag the entire family into scandal. This isn't mere paranoia, it's a mother's terror of history repeating itself, recalling Michael's harrowing stint in Pentonville Penitentiary years ago, where he not only faced the consequences of accidentally killing his stepmother Claudia Zaccara, but endured unimaginable trauma, including a brutal assault that left him psychologically scarred for life. Those dark days, marked by isolation in a cell block rife with violence, transformed the once idealistic young man into a hardened survivor, and Carly's resolve hardens with the memory, vowing silently that no child of hers will endure such hell again. Laura Wright's insights in the interview underscore Carly's unyielding commitment, portraying her as a lioness ready to bare her claws and absorb the blows to safeguard her cub. Carly will stop at nothing, Wright asserted, highlighting how her character is prepared to shoulder the blame entirely, perhaps by fabricating her own presence at the scene or confessing to a lesser involvement that diverts attention from Michael. This sacrificial mindset echoes Carly's storied history of selflessness, from her past entanglements with Sonny Corinthos to her unbreaking bond with her children. But in this chapter, it takes on a perilous edge, potentially leading her to confront old allies like Jason Morgan for covert assistance or even risk her business empire at the Metro Court to buy time. Viewers have long anticipated this twist, especially after Carly's tense exchange with Anna Devane, where she confided in Jack Brennan about a slip-up in their conversation that might have unwittingly flagged Michael as a person of interest to the PCPD. That moment of regret, replayed in Carly's mind like a looping nightmare, fuels her urgency, prompting her to double down on protective measures, such as anonymously tipping off Michael about incoming raids or rallying discreet support from Port Charles' underground network. As the plot thickens this week, Anna's relentless pursuit yields a new search warrant, zeroing in on Edith Weber's modest home, a place of quiet healing now thrust into chaos where the incriminating firearm is poised to surface, hidden perhaps in a drawer amid medical supplies or buried in the backyard garden. The catalyst for this raid stems from the dramatic collapse of Willow Tate's alibi, exposed by damning surveillance footage capturing Nina Reeves at her luxury apartment during the exact window Willow claimed they were together. Unraveling the fragile defense like a house of cards in a storm, Nina's impulsive need to cover her own tracks, despite her ironclad alibi from a high society gala, inadvertently pulls the threads loose, allowing Anna to justify the intrusion into Liz's domain, where Willow has been crashing amid her own marital strains. It's a poetic irony. Willow, believing Nina's story was self-serving, now watches her world crumble, potentially forcing her to reveal more about Michael's volatile state or their shared secrets from that turbulent evening. Speculation runs wild. Could faint traces of Willow's DNA on the weapon from a careless handling during a hypothetical argument further complicate matters? Or might it bear smudges linking back to an unknown third party, like a vengeful associate of Drew's corporate rivals? Meanwhile, Michael, ever the strategist, slips away from the Quartermain estate just as the police mobilize for another sweep, arriving unannounced at Elizabeth's doorstep in a move that reeks of evasion and desperation. Alone in the dimly lit living room, surrounded by photos of Liz's own complicated family ties, Michael paces like a caged animal, his mind racing through alibis and escape routes, unaware that Willow's impending arrival could seal his fate. If she discloses his unexpected visit to Anna, it might paint him as fleeing the scene or tampering with evidence, escalating the charges from suspicion to conspiracy. Yet, in a twist of loyalty, Willow might hesitate, torn between her love for Michael and the truth, buying him precious moments to concoct a counter-narrative, perhaps claiming he was there to check on her health amid her cancer recovery stresses. This convergence at Liz's house sets the stage for explosive revelations, where alliances fracture and buried resentments erupt, reminding us why General Hospital remains the gold standard for daytime drama, blending heart-wrenching emotion with pulse-pounding suspense. The ripple effects of this shooting saga extend far beyond the immediate players, threatening to upend the fragile peace in Port Charles and drawing in peripheral figures like Sonny Corinthos, who might sense the storm brewing and offer clandestine aid to Carly. Envision Sonny's gravelly voice over a burner phone, advising Carly on how to navigate the legal labyrinth without alerting his own enemies. Or Sam McCall piecing together clues from her pie days that could exonerate Michael at a steep personal cost. Carly's plan, born of love and fear, evolves into a multifaceted operation, monitoring police chatter through a trusted informant, forging documents to bolster alternative suspects like Valentin Casadini with his shadowy Interpol ties, or even staging a diversionary scandal to distract the media hounds. As Laura Wright hinted, Carly's willingness to self-sacrifice in hyperbolic picture her marching into the PCPD station, tears streaming, ready to spin a tale of her own grudge against Drew over past Metro Court dealings, absorbing the interrogation's heat to let Michael slip away unscathed. This arc not only amplifies Carly's iconic resilience, but invites viewers to ponder the moral tightrope of family versus justice, a theme that has defined General Hospital for decades. In wrapping up this week's spoilers, the weapon's discovery at Liz's will ignite a chain reaction, with fingerprints potentially clearing Willow, but implicating someone closer to the Corinthos' inner circle, forcing Carly to accelerate her defenses. Michael's so low appearance there adds another layer of intrigue, possibly leading to a heated confrontation with Willow that exposes cracks in their marriage, exacerbated by Drew's lingering shadow. Tracy's covert support could backfire spectacularly if her manipulations come to light, pitting her against Ned Quartermaine in a family feud that spans generations. Ultimately, Carly's desperate gambit underscores the show's enduring appeal. In a world of lies and loyalties, a mother's love can move mountains or topple empires. Stay tuned to ABC General Hospital spoilers for more updates on this heart-stopping storyline that's got Port Charles holding its breath.